Hey everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay, and I'm so excited to take it today to talk to Olivia Miles, an accomplished film, TV, and commercial costume designers who also styles not only TV commercials but also personal clients. I saw Olivia's resume and I was just so excited. All her projects are so cool. So I'm so happy to talk to you, Olivia.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So what I want to know is, being a costume designer, how did this dream manifest and when did it start with you?
It's funny because this was not on my radar at all as a child. It kind of happened later. As a kid, I loved reading and I would become so enraptured with characters and want to know more about them. But I didn't really put that together until later. I was an intern at a small production company in Portland, Oregon. And one day their stylist had a staffing issue and she asked me for help. And I fell in love instantly. And I worked with this person for a while and she kind of mentored me and trained me. And I fell in love with costumes.
Wow. So as a costume designer, every artist sees the world differently. Some people just start with color, others start with fabric. A lot of my costume designer friends told me a million things. What is the first thing that attracts you?
It's funny, after I've read a script, your mind just kind of opens up, right? And you're thinking about the characters and the story and the plot and where they came from and where they're going. So for me, it could be anything that that I see, like a painting in a gallery or a person walking down the street, a building, a sunset, like something just sparks my mind with what I've read and what I'm beginning to learn about the character, and then you go from there.
Oh, this is amazing. Okay, I watched Pet, which is a horror thriller, but it was very dark and
Yes,
very,
it is.
I don't know, like it's for me, it's like, oh my God, okay, what is this film? So when you get a job like this and you're supposed to design costumes and you have someone in a cage, someone working a monotonous job, so the costumes wouldn't be changing a little bit, how do you treat a film like this? And how do you treat characters who wear the same costume throughout to make it stand out, but at the same time stay true to probably the mundanity of the character's job? I want to know from you.
Pet was an interesting project. I hadn't really done a horror movie like that. So when I got the script, I was very intrigued and I love staying on my toes and trying new things. But for Pet, it's funny. Holly, the main female character, is abducted from her home while she's sleeping. So the costume had to be realistic, and then it also had to serve a purpose throughout the movie. So that's always something to consider when you're doing a project where the characters basically stay in one look. But that little outfit we had in, gosh, 5 or 6 different versions of it because we had to show the distress and the trauma and the blood and the filth. So we had clean ones, slightly dirty ones, and so on and so forth. So the level 5 or 6 ones were just completely soiled and burnt and blackened. But yeah, often what the viewer doesn't know is that we have to have many, many different multiples of one costume so we can show it going through the various stages and the clothes go through the journey that the character goes through. So there's that. And on a movie like that, where there are stunts or blood, you definitely have to have many, many copies of the same thing.
Okay. So are you more interested in movies like that, or are you interested in something like a period piece, something that is more time specific? What interests you most in being a costume designer? Like what draws you?
What I love about being a costume designer is that you never know what the next day will bring. I love the excitement and I love rising to the occasion and learning about something I may not have studied, or something I don't know about, or learning about a new culture or place or time. So I'm interested in everything, and that's always the challenge, is making it happen. But that's our job, is to make miracles happen. So I would love to do a 1970s piece. I would love to do a Western. Those are some of my top things that I'd like to hit next.
So Entourage, okay, you came as a costume designer in the last two seasons, right? So how does it feel to come on a show that is already established, with already established clothes, already established costume theme? How do you approach a job like that? And how does it feel for you? Is it exciting, or is it, like less excitement?
Entourage, it was an honor that Amy Westcott and the creatives handed me the reins. But I had worked on the show as Amy Westcott's assistant designer, and before that, just as a set costumer. So I knew the show really well, and I had been around. So that's how that happened. But when you take over a show, an established show, excuse me, when you take over an established show, you have to really be respectful of the work that's already been done. It depends. Sometimes the producers want a big change, and sometimes they want it to remain ultimately the same. So you just have to tread carefully and make sure that you're being respectful to the previous work that the actors and the costume department have already accomplished, and then slowly integrate the changes.
Okay, so I want to know, for you, what is more exciting, a TV show with all of the complex world and, I don't know, like the many episodes, or a movie where you just go and you know the time frame exactly and it's just a job? I think, for in my mind, costume designing a movie would be easier than a TV show, but maybe I'm wrong. So can you like just guide me through this?
Well, you're right. I would say a movie, usually there's more of a schedule that you adhere to. You kind of know the beginning, middle, and end. Of course, in our job, things change every single day, and that adjusting to that constant change is a big part of our job. But a TV show moves at a very hectic pace. Sometimes they go almost 7 days a week. You don't get a lot of rest. The schedules seem to be getting more and more ambitious. So you are turning costumes around at an incredibly fast pace, and you're as good as your team. You have a tailor shop going, aging and dyeing, fittings going all the time. It's a lot. So I do love both. And, you get opportunities to do things in TV that you don't get in movies, and vice versa.
Like what?
So
Can you like tell me what can you do here that you can't do there?
I don't know, maybe we should start that one over. They're different. I
Yes.
haven't really thought about this question.
Oh my God. Your conversation was just so dynamic that I had to like, oh my gosh, I gotta ask her that.
Well, I guess so. Movies tend to be pretty planned out. And in TV, sometimes things are happening so quickly that you just have to make it happen without really thinking about it and without any planning. So there's a
Okay.
spontaneity to television that I think can be interesting and pull some really creative ideas out of the hat.
Awesome. Okay, so Shaft. Shaft is like one of my favorite film series ever. And I love the world itself. So when you tap into a world like that and you have like Samuel L. Jackson, like did you get to dress this icon? Were you involved in this project from which angle? Because I just love Shaft and I love the world. And I feel like it has already an established mood and feel and costumes. So where does your role come into this? And what about Samuel L. Jackson?
Well, I was invited to design Shaft by Tim Story, the director, who I've done quite a few projects with over the years. We have a really fun collaboration, and I always look forward to a call from Tim. But with Shaft, obviously, as you said, it's part of a franchise with a legend, Sam Jackson, as the lead. So I flew to meet Sam on a top secret film set so we could have a creative kickoff. He wasn't available to me unless I flew out to meet him. I think it was like kind of late at night, and he had a couple hours break. So he took the time to meet with me, and I brought fabrics and sketches and my thoughts on the color palette, and we whipped up all of our ideas for his costumes for this iteration. It's a little nerve-wracking following in the footsteps of Ruth Carter and other great costume designers as far as Shaft, but Tim really wanted to have this movie have its own identity and look. So we definitely made nods to the past and honored the past, but tried to do things a little differently.
Okay, so this question is kind of, it's not off topic, but I kind of like draw from you to ask you. But if you don't like it, just tell me, no, Jaylan, I'm not ready. Yeah. So one of my friends, a costume designer, told me to be a costume designer, you have to love actors because you're doing the fittings, you're interacting with them, they're overplaying the character with you. You have to have this relationship. Do you agree? Do you feel like the dynamics between the costume designer and the actor are important and integral? And what was your favorite interaction?
The relationship is very important between you and your actors. And it's not always about having to like people. It's about being able to work together, trust one another, collaborate with one another, and respect one another. So I like people. I'm interested in people. I'm interested in how their minds work and why they make the choices they do. So I love the psychology of costume design, running a costume department, and having to get things done every day on this crazy timeline that we're always on.
Oh, okay, so Gotti. Okay, you have this movie. It's about a real life gangster, and you have John Travolta. I want to know, like, okay, did you have to make like replicas of exact costumes that were in real life? And how do you get into this shoes, like of designing something for a gangster movie, for a crime boss, for mafia and stuff like that? Like, how did you approach a character that's already there in a movie like that with John Travolta? Is cherry on top.
Gotti was another interesting one. It was very cool to get on the phone with the great John Travolta, and he had been involved with the project creatively for many years and had been doing his own research. So that was fascinating when he started sharing his ideas and archival knowledge of John Gotti with me. For that project, we worked very closely with the Gotti family, which was incredible because that gave me access to family photos and archives. Plus, there's a ton to read about in old media, newspaper articles, AP releases. I was able to find a lot of iconic photos of John. And then we decided which outfits we wanted to recreate. Because when you're doing a biographical project like that, I do think it's important to stick closely to the truth out of respect. But yeah, that was a good one. John Gotti Jr. John's son actually brought me ties and pocket squares from his father's collection,
Wow.
which was so cool. And then like tons of old family photo albums. So I had no problem nailing that one.
Wow. This makes it sound so cool. Awesome.
It was so cool. The ties were still wrapped in their tissue paper from the dry cleaner, like folded in boxes. It was very beautifully organized.
Okay, so I'm gonna take you to a different project, which is plush. And I remember for me,
Mm.
it's very BDSM, kinky inspired clothes, and it's very also, I don't know, like underground rock and roll and metal stuff inspired. So, and it's a Bloomhouse production. So another horror project. So what draws you to these projects? I wonder, do you love horror?
That project was directed by the great Catherine Hardwicke,
My
who's done.
favorite.
I know she is a luminary, but Catherine had so many cool ideas, and again, tons of research already compiled for what the world she wanted to build in this rock and roll story. So I just took it and ran with it. And a lot of people wanted to help us on that movie. I was able to have all kinds of things made and donated because people really wanted to work with Catherine. So it was so fun. It was like, dream it up and do it.
Wow. Okay, so my final question to you, Olivia, is I know you do personal styling too. So what is the difference and which do you enjoy? First of all, when you're a personal stylist, do you take like a person like me, but if I had money and just tell me what to do, like how to style myself to look better? How does it work exactly?
When it comes to personal styling and my clients, whether I know them or not, or if it's someone new, it's just a joy to make someone look like themselves, but even better, you know? So it's about making people feel comfortable, confident, and then be appropriate for the occasion that we're dressing them for. You know, some people want to be a little outlandish and some people want to play it safe. And some clients have a signature style that we're, trying to elevate with each look. But I guess I like that we have more creative control. We're not getting any notes from the studio or can you do this differently? Or can we have this the same, but in another color? You're kind of with someone in their home. It's a very like fun, relaxed environment, and you just play.
So just it was so cool talking to you, Olivia. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. And you gave my night, because it's night here, like a myriad of images and colors and fabric and stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.